Hello everybody, this is the Derby King here. Thought I'd make another video. I haven't made one in a long time. So anyway, I upgraded my old system. Originally I had two JL Audio 10s, they're 200 watts a piece. And over time I upgraded to these two, which were the organ ones. They're 2400 watts a piece, ported box. I bought them, didn't use them, only very little. But what I wound up thinking of, I wanted to put bigger speaker wire on the terminals, and the problem is, the terminals these have are they're quite small. And basically, you could only fit maybe a 12 gauge wire in these. See if I can get one of these out. And they don't take 8 gauge. To put an 8 gauge wire in, so it's kind of a bit of a bugger. And I couldn't find any, I can't get it out now, but I've got, they do make reducers. Sky High Audio has them, where you can put an 8 gauge wire in and an 8 gauge wire into your terminals on your subwoofer if they're big enough for it, but then you got it made. These ones are kind of a little bit older, smaller style, not older but smaller, so they only take about a 12, I'm guessing. So I couldn't find any of these push terminals to replace them with a bigger one. I couldn't find them at all on eBay, Amazon, any place. So this is what I come up with. It's kind of an odd thing. Basically they're a 4 ohm sub. I wired them both down to 1 ohm, and I used basically screws, washers, another washer behind the other wire, a little skinny nut, and then you just slide them right into the terminal. Once you hold these open, the push terminals, and they will slide right in. Well, not too bad. I've got everything as solid as I could get them for now. Which is kind of a poor man's way of doing it, but at the time it was all I could do. So I wound up doing that. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but one thing I do know is when I watched EXO's channel a long time ago, I still do, there was a guy that changed his from 8 gauge to 10 gauge, and he gained an extra dB, an extra decimal. So I thought I would wire this up for 8 gauge, because that's what I had at the time, and I was going to give it a try and see how it turned out. The only thing I would suggest in a case like this, being that these little bolts do fit in these little tiny terminals, I would suggest get them a little bit longer, and maybe get a little piece of white piping tape to put around pipes. And put a little bit around that, just shove them in so they kind of stay in there so they don't wiggle around. I've pretty much zip tied them, taped them, made them as solid as I could. And I'll have to screw them down and see how they turn out. I did a poor man's plug-in, which is basically screws, bolts. Yeah, I kind of made a bit of a mess, but it's going to have to do for now. And the amp I still have, which I've had for a long time when I had the 10s, actually is still the JL Audio 1000 watt D amp monoblock. I still have it. It still works pretty good. So I'm going to keep using it. And the other spare subs I had that I was using, which I had put in this box, actually was a pair of the old style Alpines that were the E-types. And these basically I was using kind of as a spare. And they're 4 ohm. They don't have a wattage on them anymore. It kind of faded away. So I don't actually know if they're 500-600 watts rhythms. I really don't know. RMS. And this is the box that they originally came in when I bought them. And I used them just for spares. But I did put them, I did put them in this box, and I found that was a very bad idea because it's a bigger box and they sort of bottom out, so I did it this way instead. So I hope that kind of helps a little bit in one way. This is kind of a poor man's way of doing it. But otherwise, I would say if you have the 8-gauge terminals, the push terminals, buy the reducers that are 8-gauge to 8-gauge, put them in, and do it that way. It'd be a lot better. But I thought this would be a good try, and I'll let you know and see how it turns out.